Welcome to episode 20 of the ISHAN cast. Today we're talking about Supposed to Be and the 2 India trips, I suppose, as a whole. Today, as always, I'm joined by my dad. How you doing?
I'm well, ISHAN. Bit of a different podcast this time round because not just focused on a song, but also focused on a tour and basically an experience in a whole country.
Yeah. My first experience in a country that I have obviously deep cultural ties to. So it was it was a big experience for me that goes way beyond music.
So let's start there. You have an Indian-sounding name, ISHAN.
I do. I noticed.
So
somewhere around the age 4, I was like, my name doesn't sound like the other guys' names.
So let's explore a little bit about your cultural background and explain a bit about your Indian heritage.
I mean, I feel like you're probably better placed to answer that question, but my dad's dad, who is your dad, dad's dad and dad's mum, your parents, they immigrated from India first, I think, to the US and to New Zealand randomly for a little side quest, but then to ultimately to Australia.
I'm glad you know your family history had nothing to do with New Zealand, US, then straight here.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, there's another uncle in New Zealand. Sorry. Yep. I've heard the history. It's all jumbled in my brain. Okay. US and then here. So you were born here. You were raised here. But obviously, half the family. Now, when you get to me now, half the family, sort of all come at some point from India, and so.
You're half Indian.
I'm half Indian.
The other half is?
The other half is so my mum's half Swiss and Spanish. And I think crucially for my life experience growing up, the Australian part of the family, the Indian part of the family that we're all sort of close with, most of them are here in Australia. Whereas on mum's side of the family, all the Swiss and Spanish family are in Switzerland and Spain.
So you've spent a lot of time in Europe visiting family, but
yes.
You'd never visited India before?
Because the cousins, the grandparents from the Indian side of the family are here. So this trip to India that we're about to discuss was my first time ever visiting India, even though I am half Indian.
So we're talking about Supposed to Be.
Yeah.
Now, this song was actually written in India. Is that correct?
It was. I'm trying to think if it was my first song written overseas. I don't think it was.
I know it's not. I know that for example, This Blank Wall was written overseas.
Yeah, that's right. Probably the trip's going to visit the Swiss side of the family.
Yes, you definitely wrote stuff in Switzerland.
Where I'd probably insisted on taking a guitar because otherwise, what was I going to do?
Yes,
but this is writing songs.
But this was the first time when you wrote "Supposed to Be." This was the first time you'd been in India, and you wrote that song. And interestingly, it was also a co-write. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it was a co-write with this really cool Indian artist from Mumbai called Keshav Tiohar, and I met him through these guys. I don't know, the anthology of how we met is it's one of those classic music industry things of like my manager knows this manager and this manager has an artist and they're all, everyone's friends, right, in the industry. But yeah, they sort of set us up on this co-write session during that first week. So and to set the stage a little, the first time I went to India, it was for a week in Mumbai, for this music industry conference, which was great for me because I got to go and kind of learn a bit about the industry in India, and just meet a whole bunch of people who are doing some exciting things over there. One of those people is this artist producer Keshav, and we just had a studio session, and we wrote a song. Which is not like there was nothing particularly Indian or exclusive. You know what I mean? Like that's actually a very regular songwriter experience. I wouldn't say that part of it, like meeting up with a songwriter, meeting up with an artist, going, let's try and write a song today. Like that happens everywhere. But so that itself wasn't an Indian experience, but I think just everything around that, like the cab to the studio, just like looking outside, being like, oh my God, I'm on planet Mars. Like this is so different to the place I know.
Obviously, culturally, an environment,
and then musically, the music that came out of that was. Am I stepping on your next question?
No. So my question revolves around the cultural mix, or you've done co-writes before with people with a very similar musical formation as yours,
Yeah.
and suddenly you're writing with somebody who has a very different musical background.
Yeah.
Was that in any way challenging?
I mean, and so this is where I think I was floating around with the previous answer, but what I was trying to touch on was it was challenging, but I think the things about the co-write that were challenging were not like specific to the fact that there were different cultures. There are some things that the challenging things were the things that are universal to every co-write. It's like you get in a room. I'm in a room with this guy called Keshav. I've never met him before. He seems lovely, but I don't know him. We just met, and now we're going to sit down on a sofa, and I'm going to go, here is my life in 60 seconds. Here's what I'm thinking about. Here's what I'm feeling in this moment. Here's the things that are on my mind, and here are some things that maybe I might like to say, and here are some sounds that I'm interested in at the moment. And then he does the same, and then we sort of come together and go, okay, there's all this information. We're getting to know each other, but it has to happen on this real timeline. How are we going to write a song?
So what I'm hearing is, in a co-write situation, at least when you go into co-writes, that sense of giving yourself the vulnerability or the openness to be able to connect with the fellow writer, is really critical to starting a session. It's
really critical, and it's not like a first date where you want to be chill and take it slow. It's like you got to overshare. You got to just get in there, because we got 6 hours. We're on a clock here, so we got to, and we need 6 hours to write the song. So we can't be, trying to be all cool and hold things back. It's like you get there, you sit down, and you go, here's where I'm at right now in life. It's like a lot of sharing that happens very quickly. And that's always a challenge, I suppose, but that's how the best songs come about, I think.
So let's continue on talking about the song Supposed to Be, and then we will talk a little bit more about your experience in India and the tour you did as well.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about what the song is about.
So the song is about a guy who is on the road, and I think, Keshav and I, being artists, we definitely picture an artist on the road.
Life on the road means loving through a screen. I guess right now that's where I'm supposed to be.
But I suppose it's written in a way that it could be any person who has a job that takes them away from home, and it's someone on the road who just spends all their time thinking about work, and then they have this partner who's somewhere back home, wherever home is. And the partner feels neglected, the partner feels kind of ignored, and then the song sets this scene of the partner basically going, "I've had enough. You've done this too long. You've neglected us for too long. The damage is done, and I'm out."
What was very interesting about this song, from my perspective, was that definitely have a lot of Western sounds, but it also has some Indian sounds, and there's an Indian sound palette.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's the verse in Hindi, which Keshav sings. But how did you feel about an ISHAN song having such an influence in terms of Indian sound palette?
I liked it. I mean, I think when we were writing it, I wasn't sitting there going, "Ooh, I really want these things to be Indian, or I want these things to be Western, or I want we're just kind of sitting there, and because he's really a producer. I think I dabble on Logic and I make demos sometimes, but he really is a producer. So he sits there with his laptop and he starts putting this beat together. That was, I think that might have been the first beat that he started making was that one on that day. And I was just really enjoying it. I wasn't thinking about the logistics, the cultural logistics of it all. I was just going, I like this. This is cool. He had some drums. He had this guitar loop that he found somewhere. And then, he was doing what he does. And then I just started doing what I do, which is I just started writing a song. And I mean, that line, and this is where I forget the line of the song. What's the first line of the song?
I walked into a window.
I started mumbling. I walked into a window and I pulled up, into my voice notes.
I walked into a window and I pulled up, so
And I remember I said to him, because I was sort of singing it pretty quiet, because he's a new person in my life, and now we're just going to start singing together and writing songs. So I remember actually I was quite sheepish. I said, I've got this idea. It's weird. He's like, nah, man, I love weird ideas. What's your idea? And I was like, all right. So he's playing the beat. I walked into a window and I pulled up, saw, and I think I maybe had one or two more lines. And like just enough of that verse to sort of like to explain to him, I think this is where I want the song to go. So yeah, that's how it started.
Am my ears playing tricks on me, or is there an elephant sound in the song?
There is an elephant sound in the song. It's not an isolated elephant sound that we just found and put an elephant in there. It was a drum loop that we found on something called Splice, which is like a big sound library that a lot of producers use to just find various drum loops. So it was a loop that had a couple of different percussive elements in there, and then maybe the quietest element of that was this little elephant that like jumps out.
Did you wait for me to let you in and try to make this work?
So you go to India for the first time, August 2024, with your manager for a conference.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you weren't speaking at the conference; you were actually singing there.
No, I played. Yeah. I played a 15-minute set. So they the way the conference was organized was during the day they had all these talks, and I went to a bunch of them and learned a lot of things. From all sorts of industry stakeholders about industry things, and then at night, then the conference turned into a concert, basically, and they had this big ballroom in the hotel where the thing was being run, and so you get like 700-800 people at night, students, industry professionals, everyone there kind of comes together, and then they have it's like 3 acts a night, so it's a pretty short thing, and so I was the first act on the final night. It was my 15-minute set.
And this is probably, well, tell me if I'm wrong, this is the first time you're ever playing out of Australia?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty amazing place, Mumbai.
It's a beautiful ballroom. And I was a bit nervous. I forgot when I went down for sound check to this hotel, I forgot my power adapter. So I got there with an Australian, all my cables have the Australian one. And I had in my bag, I had 2. I had a backup as well, the Australia to India power thing. And, you know how I get. I'm prepared. I'm thinking about things. I got backups of cables. I got my bag. I got everything I need. And somehow I get to the ballroom and I'd forgotten this thing. I was like, oh my God, I'm so upset because I planned so thoroughly. And they were great. They were like, this guy, talk to this guy, talk to that guy. They found, I don't know if they went and bought one or they summoned it through a portal. I don't know where it came from, but took them 3 minutes and they'd found an Australia to India, which is a pretty niche, it's a relatively niche power thing.
Here's the weird thing. I mean, I know most of your stories. I've heard most things. I didn't know that one. There you go. I didn't know that happened.
I just remember that now, actually.
So you played you played this gig, right?
It was great.
And had there was a great response.
Mm-hmm.
Your manager was also, I know they were running late. Your manager wanted you to get on because there was somebody in particular he wanted you to play for, right?
Yeah. Okay. See, I don't. We don't want to do the industry name dropping. That's not. There was an
agent there that he wanted you to play for, and he had to leave early. So there was a bit of time pressure.
There was a bit of urgency. It's probably the most frantic I've seen him. He's quite a calm man normally. He's very zen. But yeah, on that day he was like, "Oh, we need to get things moving."
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so you're there in August. You write the song with Keshav. You produce it back here.
Yeah,
and then you go back to India in November, and you play. It's November 2024, and you play a couple of gigs. The first one was the Hills Festival at Meghalaya. What do you remember from that?
Honestly, my big takeaway was, oh my God, everyone is so cool and so nice. And that's such a cushy and lame thing to say, but honestly, it really was the overwhelming takeaway from the night. They had all this help staff. It was a very young I mean, it was a young crowd, and that was, I think, what I expected. But what I hadn't expected was that all the support staff were so young. It's just people my age who just seem to love live music, and they were like, any kind of water I need, tech things, like getting equipment up there. There was just so much help.
I think what struck me was we're not in a major center in India. We're not in Delhi or Mumbai or Kolkata, right? We are in a pretty remote part of India, and yet there were people who were fans of yours and knew your songs, and that to me was quite eye-opening. That felt pretty cool, I must admit.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, I think, to see that in Meghalaya was very affirming, because it was our second time coming to India, but I'm still a small up and coming artist, and taking it, I mean, obviously it's a big risk to go overseas and to kind of make that investment to go and play, and so to get that affirmation was really nice.
Now, what do you remember, or what can you tell everybody about the journey back from Meghalaya back to the airport?
The following morning.
So we got up at let's put context. You play till about. You play till midnight. By the way, you got on really, really late.
It took like 45 minutes overtime.
Which would never happen. By the way,
it would never. You would have a stage manager in Australian festival. If you go 15 minutes overtime, you'd have
15 seconds.
You go 5 minutes overtime. You're gonna have a stage manager walk on stage, flip you up like a wrestling move, tackle you off the stage. These guys had like a 45-minute encore situation, a drum roll that just did not end.
The guys before you, that is.
Yes, yeah. All the power to them. But yeah, okay. So we get home. It's probably past midnight,
and we had to get up at
2:30,
3:30. Yeah, about 3 o'clock in the morning to get a plane from the airport,
Guwahati Airport, to Kolkata.
So we had to drive first. It took us about 3 hours or 3.5 hours to get from the airport up to the gig.
Actually, down to the gig.
Down to the gig. Sorry. Yes.
Right.
I keep thinking up because we're going up a mountain. We're going up the hills.
No, I get you. Yeah, no, I just want to let the people of Meghalaya know that somebody cares.
Yeah. So we're going south, which is down, but going up a hill, which is up.
Yeah.
So 3.5 hours, let's say, to drive there
to the festival,
and how long?
And then back from the festival, like an hour and a half or something ridiculous.
3 o'clock in the morning with fog on the road.
We couldn't see anything.
Windy roads, going like Formula One. Yeah.
This was Indian Max Verstappen was driving our car. These and in hindsight, it's like these guys. That's like these are their roads. This is what they do. They spend all their time driving this car in this road. So I get that they're very good at it. But oh my god! And to be fair to us, like it being 3 a.m., 3:30 a.m. by the time we really started getting moving, was not to our advantage. Like we're already a bit drowsy, a bit like what's going on, and then we're just seeing the unreal speed that these guys are driving. Oh, it was ridiculous.
Mountain roads in India.
Yeah.
Let's just say we won't be driving anytime in India soon.
No. They turned the car into a bullet train. They were going ridiculously fast.
Okay, so we're flying out of Guwahati to go to Kolkata.
Yes.
And what's happening in Kolkata?
I'm supporting Bryan Adams, which is going to be the biggest show of my life from a crowd perspective, if nothing else.
So, I mean, if we just take a step back for a second, I mean, Bryan Adams, one of the living legends.
Summer of
69, yes.
Mm-hmm.
A living legend, and you're supporting him in Kolkata.
Yeah.
Now, again, I could ask you how the hell that happened, but I know that neither you nor I quite know the answer.
Not really. It's music industry, man. It's the businessman. It's this guy talks to that guy, talks to that guy, talks to his dog, to his goldfish, to their uncle's niece. It says, hey man, does ISHAN want a gig?
and somehow here you are
yep.
playing in front of 20-odd thousand people in Kolkata. So we arrive in Kolkata. We get to the hotel.
Yeah.
You have a nap. Or try to.
You know what? It was the one time on that trip that I tried and failed to nap.
Yeah.
Because I've been pretty good. I feel like that's a tool that I hear a lot of bigger artists using, and I I can attest. It's a good one. When you got a late night show, you got to have the energy.
You're pretty good at that, I must admit. You're pretty good at finding a way to get a quick power nap in there when you need it.
I'm learning. However, I mean, because... Oh, hang on, we didn't mention there were flight delays.
Yeah, there were flight delays.
So there was a delay at the airport. So I was supposed to have like 3 hours or something between landing in Kolkata and leaving for the show. I had 45 minutes. So I remember I had a lunch, and then I tried to nap for about 20 minutes, and I didn't fall asleep.
While you were trying to nap, I was in another room panicking because... do you remember why?
Yeah, I sort of do. We needed to cut something.
So, no, what happened, I didn't tell you at the time, your guitar case, the padlock got bent on the flight and it couldn't be opened, so I couldn't get your guitar out. So I needed to get someone from the hotel who didn't speak English and was trying to communicate that I need bolt cutters. Right?
Yeah.
And they, to their credit,
They're good.
Someone came in with bolt cutters and smashed the padlock.
Nice.
So we managed to
I do remember that now, actually.
get your guitar happening.
Yeah.
Okay, now, if you can manage to keep what was probably one of the funniest stories we've ever been part of to 2 minutes, what happened when we tried to get to the gig to play Bryan Adams?
Okay, so guy from the touring company who has organised us to play meets us at the front of the hotel. We load in the car. He's going to drive us to the gig. The hotel is very close.
5-minute drive.
5-minute drive. As we're driving, to use one of your favourite expressions, so something of humanity.
There's people everywhere.
There's
thousands.
Like the whole 20,000 crowd is like walking up with us as we're driving. There's a lot of people. It's really something to behold. We're driving. We get to like the perimeter of the venue, and there's this big police barricade, and the police are saying, "Okay, cars have to stop here. Everyone on foot." Which makes sense. Do you want to jump in?
Just to give people context, there's thousands of people walking along this one road. There's rickshaws, or tuk-tuks as they're sometimes called. There's probably 1,000 police. I mean, it was mayhem.
Yeah.
And you get to this barrier.
And this is like the epicenter.
Yeah.
Because everyone has to get on foot from here.
And we're in official sort of vans, black windows, people with headphones, looking very very official security type folk, right?
Yeah, it's very Men in Black.
Yes, and what happened?
So we drive up to the police barricade, and the guy in the front seat, who's our, like, for lack of a better word, tour handler, is talking to the cops saying, "Hey, we're the touring company. We have the support act. We need to get up to the front." He had some kind of documentation or whatever. And the cop was like, "No, forget you. You have to walk like everybody else." Touring guy obviously understands, as we do. Actually, hey, we have 60 kilos of luggage.
More.
Okay, you reckon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have more than 60 kilos of luggage.
It's not luggage. It's equipment.
Yeah.
And gear.
Sorry, it's my whole live looping kit. So I'm a one-person band. The lack of people means more weight. Drum machine, pedal board, everything. So that's not going to fly because there's still a kilometre to walk. We're not going to get there in time. We need to drive. The touring guy says to the cops, "This is what needs to happen," and the cops say basically, "No, we don't care. You can go to the guest parking." So, okay, what's the guest parking? So we drive now 30 seconds kind of away from the police barricade to basically a paddock in the dirt, just a field. There's absolutely nothing there. It's probably further away from the venue than we were out the front of the police barricade. So we get there, we realize, oh, this is not helpful at all. It's not going to do. We come back to the police, and basically what proceeds to unfold is like 6 times back and forth between the police barricade and this guest parking, where every time we get back to the police, like more of our like Men in Black guys come out of the woodwork. They're getting more aggressive. Meanwhile, more police are coming to address us. They're getting more aggressive, sending us back to the guest parking. I don't understand why we kept going back to the guest parking. I think it's because we couldn't stand there with the car. We had to keep driving in motion.
So basically, the police wouldn't let us in.
No.
They kept on directing us to this car park. Our driver would go there. We would say, well, there's nothing we can do here. Back we come to the barricade. More cops, more security trying to get us in. Ultimately...
Big touring boss. So by the way, the guy in the car with us is like, you know, one of the top guys, but like his head honcho is on the phone with him. He's on speaker, losing his mind. By trip 5, he's losing his mind because we're late to sound check now. We were early, now we're late as. So finally he comes down on some kind of scooter. He's eviscerating the cops, just giving them verbal, hellfire. Finally, they let us through.
They moved the barricades.
After like 30 minutes of...
More like close to 45 minutes, I reckon, before we got in.
I was doing breathing exercises. I can't lie. I was pretty stressed.
See, funny, you were stressed. Normally, I'd be stressed about this. I was pretty calm because there's literally nothing we can do.
I know. There's nothing we can do.
So you get past the barricade. They drive you all up the stage. You literally
sprint up on stage.
Get your stuff up stage. And then the stage manager tells you... Normally, how long do you take to do a sound check?
5 minutes.
So normally, the whole sound check.
Normally, if I can, I'll take 20 minutes and just get it sorted.
Ideally, you'd have half an hour.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm supposed to set up the stuff as well. Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? If you're playing your gig, you have plenty of time.
Yeah.
He said you have...
You got 1 minute for sound check.
5 minutes. It was, it was 5 minutes.
Yeah. I remember some things perfectly and others not so well. But something that was like, okay. But you know what? Because it was like, it's going to take me 5 minutes to set up.
Yeah.
That was the problem with it.
You got to plug things in, get your pedals out, plug everything in.
Crates, pedal boards, guitar, Ineos system,
and then do the sound
for
check.
live looping, and then actually start playing,
and then actually make sure all the technical stuff's work. So
he's like yelling. He's yelling at me. He's a grown man. He's yelling at me. I listened to him for 30 seconds, and I just ignored him. I just started setting up because I'm like, I can't deal with this guy. I've had too much. So I think you probably... So I started talking to him and said, hey, he needs... I
said, look, normally, you'd have about half an hour to get properly set up. He said, I have 20,000 people outside waiting to come in. To which I said to him, I don't know if you heard this. Did you hear what I said to him or not?
Something about like, you guys should have got us in earlier or like whatever.
Well, no, I actually didn't explain. I said, I thought it wasn't worth... He was in a bad mood as well.
Yeah,
right?
that's okay.
I just said, look, you've got 20,000 people waiting outside. You can let them in, but there's a good chance that the sound won't work properly if you don't do a sound check and it won't be right. And so your call, but I said he can go as an ISHAN can go as fast as he possibly can, but if he doesn't sound check, then we just don't know if it's going to work. So anyway, you're in parallel, plugging everything in, and then you're
box, Formula One speed.
Okay, so you're ready to do your fight and actually start singing and doing and turning everything on. There was something missing.
They didn't have power. They didn't have power for me because, okay, to be fair to these guys, when Bryan Adams does a show, and this is what I learned, when Bryan Adams does a gig, he brings his whole like touring team, like from the UK, Ireland, all these guys come from wherever.
There was Australian guys part of his crew.
Yeah. And they're all super pro, but they have all their own equipment. So the touring company, like these Indian guys, like they actually weren't responsible for musical things, except for me. They were responsible for me because I was the support act that actually they organize. So I don't need much. I'm very easy to work with. I come with my whole, all Lego pieces included, except for I need power. And so then there was another very comical 5 minutes after I did my Formula One speed setup of like, guys, can I get like a power cord?
So the stage manager is yelling at you to go as fast as you possibly can and do a sound check.
And then
suddenly he looks all sheepish because he realizes you don't have anything to plug yourself into. So then they start yelling around for an electrician or somebody to be able to get you some power. I mean, bottom line,
it was a big day, you guys. It was a big day.
Ultimately, it sounded brilliant.
It was great. Yeah.
I mean, so let's then talk about
the engineers were great. Sound check was smooth.
We then got a stage where the green room is it's a shipping container.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's a bit weird.
That's fine.
Right?
It was all fun.
We couldn't get out of there because we actually needed someone to like security on the other side had to let us in, so we were locked in there. If we wanted to get out, we had to knock and someone had to let us out. Now, again, let's tell the story relatively quickly. At one point before the gig, you decided you needed to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. As we've established, it was a big day. Emotions running high. There's a lot of stress pent up. And I had to use the bathroom before, going to sing in front of 20,000 people. And so I went to one of the security guys. I was like, hey, is there a bathroom? They had a little congregation. Do you want to jump in?
So, I mean, let's not go through all the trailers.
Yeah.
So basically, they couldn't find...
Could not find a bathroom, no. They couldn't find a bathroom, and so after deliberation and searching and some misadventures that we won't speak about on camera, basically they turned and they were like, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to get 10 of the security team, or we're going to take you to the back road and we're going to stand around you.
So basically stand on the road.
Yeah. Which, by the way, is actually not as locked off to the public as you would think.
So there's a road with hundreds of people.
People definitely could have got in there and just
there are people walking around everywhere. This is the backstage environment. There's a road there. There's hundreds of people. And their solution was, we're going to surround you, make a circle around you. You drop your pants and you squat.
Okay.
Correct?
No hate. They were doing their best with the cards that they were dealt. They were trying to look after me. And that is the most important part of the story, is that those guys had my back. They were looking for creative solutions. And they were trying to look after me. It did not... Look, in that moment, while I could register the sincerity of that suggestion, it just didn't work for me. I didn't feel comfortable doing that before then going to sing in front of all those people. So I held it like a champ. So pooping on the street before a massive gig is not an option. No, look, and I mean, feel free to let me know in the comment section. But I wasn't up for that kind of adventure. I wasn't feeling that brave.
You know what? So I really hope people. I really hope people don't let you know in the comment section.
No.
I don't want to read those comments at all.
No.
Suffice to say,
the gig was great. The gig was so much fun.
Yeah, it was an amazing gig.
It was.
You played in front of 20,000 people.
Crowd was lovely.
Now, you got a great reaction, but when you sung "Supposed to Be," tell me about that.
Oh yeah, so I saved "Supposed to Be" for the last song in my set. Obviously, because it's got this Hindi second verse that Keshav wrote, and Keshav sings on the record, but Keshav couldn't be there. And so, well, of course, it was in Kolkata and he's in Mumbai. So, in preparation for that, I phonetically, I learnt the second verse. So I understand what it means roughly, like in spirit. But with the help of my grandma and a couple of other relatives. And to be fair, I was practicing that whole tour. So in Guwahati, at the Hills Festival with all those guys, like I was saying, that there were a bunch of really nice young guys. I was saying to them, I was like, guys, I got to learn this verse. Can you help me out? Hum tum se kaise. But I reckon I still remember it.
Yeah. So you sung the Hindi verse.
Yeah.
And
Big pop.
Big pop, what do you mean?
Like, okay, so I said, all right, there's a bit of Hindi in this song. Like, excuse my accent, I'm learning it. Everyone, I feel like everyone was just extra excited for that last one. And it's my last song on the set. Everyone's like extra hyped. But then I got to that point in the song, second verse, and then, even though I'd said I'm going to sing Hindi, it's obviously a different thing when all of a sudden this guy who's been singing English for the whole 30-minute set or whatever, all of a sudden starts singing in Hindi. And everyone's like, oh, nice. Big pop, big explosion from the crowd. It was just the perfect end to that set.
What did it feel like to sing in front of 20,000 people?
You know what? It wasn't as amazing as you'd think. And let me put that into context. Singing for 200 people is already amazing, right? Singing for 200 people is the coolest thing. Singing for 10 people can be the coolest thing if you're having a good time. So when I say it wasn't the best thing, it was just like, I can't see 20,000 people. You know what I mean? Like, I can look at 20,000 people, and first of all, it's quite a surreal experience to see that many people. But if I'm being honest, and I'm not trying to be pessimistic, it was amazing. Don't get me wrong. It's something I'll remember for the rest of my life. But I can't see 20,000 faces, And it wasn't my crowd. So it wasn't like they were singing along with me. I was so fortunate to be there. But at the end of the day, I think that experience made me realize, okay, I can play for 10 people or 10,000 or 20,000. But really, like, what I actually feel up there more than anything is just the music that I'm making and the sound that I'm making, It's like...
My reflection is that you said it wasn't your crowd, right? They were there to see Bryan Adams. They didn't know who ISHAN was.
They were into it. They were bopping along. They were supportive.
But they didn't know all the words to the songs. Not like, for example, world famous song Summer of '69 comes on, and of course everyone sings the words.
You probably feel 20,000 people in a different way when it's echoing back.
And I wonder whether, as an aspiration, as your career continues to grow, if you ever get the chance to play for crowds of that size, when I said you said your crowd, whether the energy coming back the other way would make it a crazy experience. I mean, even what you said was pretty crazy as well.
See, I really don't want to come across as pessimistic, because I think it actually made me very hopeful, that having that experience, because I think what it made me realize is, and of course there are greater things to be experienced when it is my crowd, but I think what it made me realize is, okay, this is not the goal. Like 30,000 people in the arena, like that's awesome and it's cool, but it's like, if that's what's driving me to work hard and to write music, if that's the end goal, I don't know if that's worthy of all the time and effort. I think what it affirmed for me is, okay, it's the stuff I do at home, it's the stuff I do when I'm writing by myself and actually coming up with these ideas. It's the stuff when I get to play a gig and hang out with 20 fans after the show who want to stick around and take a photo and like actually talk to them in person. It's those things that actually matter more than mass without depth.
So
does that make sense?
Yeah, no, what I'm hearing from you is it's the engagement with your music, right? 50 people at a micro show engaging with your music, versus 20,000 people you're opening for someone else who don't really know your music. Yes, it's cool to have 20,000 people there, but you really want to be playing for people who engage, love, and give the energy back in relation to your music. Yeah.
Like that experience made me want to just work as hard as I possibly can so I can be playing for 20,000 people every night, but not so that the reason is not because I want to see a big crowd for my ego. That's not the reason. It's because I just love music. That's the reason.
And so what are your reflections now on India in general, for someone who's been there now twice, very new to the environment? Of course, you've got family there. We were in Mumbai. We were meant to play another festival that got cancelled last minute. And that's another story in itself for another time. But what's your sort of overarching feeling towards India and the music scene in India?
My feeling is it's very exciting. I don't know. I want to go back. I want to play more shows. I want to write more songs with Indian artists. I think that definitely the takeaway from Supposed to Be is, hey, Keshav's really cool, the song's really cool, but okay, the cultural crossover that's possible, that is really exciting. And there's some really cool sounds to explore there. Culturally, it's a lot. It's Mumbai is loud, it's hectic, it's full on. And I'm used to a quieter environment. So okay, I go there now knowing, hey, it's going to take a lot out of me. But it gives a lot. So I'm really okay with that. And I think, I don't know if you have more questions, but I feel like the note to end the podcast on is that I'm keen to go back, and I'm going to go back very soon.
Maybe watch this space.
Thanks,
ISHAN.
Thank you very much. And we will see you next time with another episode that I'm not going to spoil. Until then, take care.